Good day, everyone. How are you, grade 11? I am happy to discuss with you another lesson in Introduction to the Philosophy of Human Person. But before we go to our main topic for week 3, I would like to remind everyone for the philosophical concepts I introduce with you, and these are Carpe Diem or Seize the Moment, make the most of it. And then you've learned also Natura non facit saltum with Joss Whedon in the movie God's Not Dead, which means nature doesn't jump. Vita contemplativa or life contemplation, contributed by Pythagoras, the pre-Socratic philosopher, and memorestorem, the mindful of reality, and that will aid us the knowledge that we have. I would also introduce the new philosophical concept which says es misericordiam. This is very familiar with you because it simply says be kind. Let us now start with our topic for this week. It is about knowledge, wisdom, and opinion. Again, this is a bit deeper aspect of philosophy class, but we try, of course, to I will try to present this topic in a very simple way and as much as possible. Let's start, of course, with Plato. Contribution about knowledge. His idea about metaphysical system, which means the quest for the idea of good. Philosophy is wisdom, he said, and knowledge is wisdom, and virtue is knowledge. He was the one who put philosophy in its perspective or in its respective pedestal as a discipline and the establishment of academy. Always remember that the greatest contribution of Plato in uh, education is academy because this is the formal education. This is the start of a classroom setup of education. But what is Plato's metaphysical system? Our lesson about knowledge, we try to explain, or I'll try to explain with you about this idea of Plato about knowledge, which means um, there is this what we call or what he called two worlds, which are a world of forms and ideas and a world of soul, or technically, world of soul is considered as world of physical, and the world of forms and ideas are ideas that are already manifested in our mind. So therefore, the world of forms and ideas are the basis of what we see in the world, in the physical world that we have. I guess I have to explain this uh, idea of Plato's metaphysical system in a synchronous conference or session we have. But I will try to introduce with you the basic knowledge and ideas about metaphysical system. Therefore, the existence of another world and in another dimension, that everything is intended for good, that is somehow hopefully that in the physical world, whatever we see, the functions and uses is intended for good. And this is the goal of Plato's philosophy, the attainment of good life. These are the descriptions of two worlds, world of forms and ideas. And they are our knowledge, our wisdom, spirit. It is unchanging. It is also infinite, intelligible, or the noises are the higher form of knowledge. However, the world of soul or world of physical world, example of this are our opinions, body that is corruptible. It's changing and it's based on the knowledge based on of our senses that was insensible and finite, and then the anoia or the lower form of knowledge. These are the different definitions. I want you to study these definitions about what is wisdom, what is allegory, what is knowledge, what is opinion, what is illusion, what is imagination, and the difference of illusion from imagination, opinion to knowledge, what is allegory, and what is wisdom. Socrates is famous of this dictum: "Unexamined life is not worth living." because Socrates emphasized the importance of contemplation of the philosophical life. And of course, counterpart of Socrates or the notable sophists in Plato's dialogue, like Gorgias, Thrasymachus, and Protagoras. These are the people always contradicting Socrates. Then, therefore, I would like to present Socratic method or the exercise of dialectics. Very simple. Dialectics means to contradict an argument that has something to do with contradiction, the consequence of the same hypothesis to make it look absurd. This is done through asking series of questions and answers to expose views of your opponents and the use of dialectics. Remember that Joss Wheaton used this method when he had the argument with his teacher, Mr. Radisson. And famous René Descartes, the method of systematic doubt, or the exercise of skepticism, or the philosophy of skepticism. This is simply introducing to us that doubting is technically will aid us to think, because in doubting, it is a form or an example of thinking. When you doubt, then you think. I think René Descartes exposes this kind of knowledge that the more you doubt, the more it will give you or aid you, or the more you aspire, desire to know something. And of course, it will lead you to the clarity of message or thoughts. There's a video explaining more about the Rene Descartes exercise of skepticism. I know that you saw the video already. And then to go forward, the three indubitable premises of knowledge: God, self, and material objects. When we say three indubitable, these are the things that we cannot doubt anymore. And then opus means pork, and then hemlock, the highly poisonous plant, unpleasant smell. It was used to kill death sentence. Infallible, it's incapable of making mistakes or being wrong. These are the concepts, additional concepts in our lesson or study about knowledge. Let's proceed to the next, but before that, let us again remind ourselves for another philosophy line, which is ad majorem felix, and it says, for greater joy and happiness. And of course, we are after of joy and happiness in our life. Let us now talk about knowledge and the law of attraction, and we'll do this very quick. The law of attraction is deceptively simple philosophy by which we can live life on our own terms and attract things, experiences, and people to us. This is, I think, the simplest possible term or terms which the law of attraction says that technically it's like attracts like. It's like violence attracts violence. This is evident to the world around us. Think about the old sayings: birds with the same feathers flock together, or tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And the law of attraction takes again this concept like attracts like. We attract circumstances, material objects, and people according to our actions. I've explained more of this in our synchronous meeting. And then let us remember this concept of law of attraction, the basic concept. I could create a life that I desire, and to liken the law to be translated, we become what we think. That's the first concept. The law that facilitates survival and thus is adaptive, which means the law of attraction could help you survive in any difficult situation. This was used by our ancestors before, that they were able to endure pain because they said it is the matter of the mind. The danger arises when the law of attraction and the other elements are deviated from the basic principles of effective survival. Okay, there is an example here, and basically, the law of attraction, basically a primal survival strategy that must be used effectively at all times. And this was used properly uh, with the people or ancestors before. Okay, that is the law of attraction. Let us now proceed to the nature of knowledge. There are three stages of apprehension: perception, abstraction, and judgments. Two types of perception: external and internal. External, usually perception or things perceived using our five senses, and internal perception happens when we use our imaginations and memory. However, abstraction described as simple apprehensions and conception. From a simple apprehension, then it will lead you to think something or perceive an object intellectually, and after that, you act with your mind. They said usually the usual saying is, "You are what you think." What you are doing because is what you think. Things like that. That these are concepts. The concepts that are uh, grow or build in our mind and knowledge. It is in the mind intellect that is responsible for the formation of concepts that exist in the mind. Thus, the concepts have no truth value because you have not made any claim regarding the concept. When words are expressed now in concepts, they are technically called terms. And therefore, the third stage is judgments. Here, making knowledge that is either true or false, and that is you check whether or not the claim is true or yeah, truth. Example of this, of what I was explaining about concept terms and judgments. The sky is blue. The process is called judgment, and the result of this process is a statement or proposition that completes the act of the mind for knowledge to become possible, and this reflects reasoning. Okay, um, you have to use your judgment if really the sky is blue, and I explain in the next slides about this line. But before that, let us remind ourselves that our knowledge is expressed in sentences and statements. And as a review, there are five types of sentences: declarative, interrogative, imperative, expletive, and exclamatory. Sentences have no truth value. They are merely uttered as verbal means of communication. But the sentence or statement expressed through declarative sentence that has the element of truth and falsity. Among the five, declarative has the element of truth and falsity. There are two types of statements, analytical and empirical. Analytical statement, truth and falsity of the knowledge can be found within the statement itself. You don't have to go outside to search for the truth and falsity. Example, the bachelor is an unmarried male or of marriageable age. One does not have to check the truth and falsity because you can see itself in the statement that a bachelor is really an unmarried male, and then it is usually in the statement that you can see the truth and falsity of the statement. And then also, the kitten is a young cat. It's obviously the definition of the kitten because kitten is the young cat, and that is analytical statement. Empirical statement, however, the truth and falsity statement depend on the state of affairs, not dependent on definition. The truth and falsity being claimed by empirical statements rest on its correspondence or support. Example, the sky is blue. It's empirical because the truth depends on additional information or claim being made, like the kitten is on the mud. The state of affair being described is the possibility of happening in the empirical world because we are not yet certain if the sky is blue outside, because sometimes it's not blue, and the kitten is not only staying on the mat. So it's empirical because we have to see more to verify the claim of the statement. This is not appealing to definition. This is contingent information. Therefore, empirical statements are also known as, in philosophical literature, as truths, fact, and synthetic matters of fact, which happen posteriorly or after the statement. Okay, I hope I was able to summarize the elements of knowledge and the law of attraction with this presentation. And I hope and I really have to explain more about these topics presented to you. Thank you so much and have a good day to all.